Want to speed up your language learning? Get access to all of our best PDF cheat sheets for free. Just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. In this series, you'll master German pronunciation. Proper pronunciation is essential in German, and in this series, you'll learn it in a fast, comprehensive, and easy way. In this first lesson, you'll learn about the building blocks of the German pronunciation system that will help you in future lessons. The letters used in German are the same as the letters you use in English, with the exception of one new letter and some letters with 2 dots over them. But be careful not to fall into a very common trap. As you're learning to speak correctly, you shouldn't concern yourself with all the letters. That's right, forget them. You care about the sounds of German, and here they are. There are 28 consonant sounds and 17 vowel sounds. You can form every single word in German by using these sounds. Still seem complicated? Well, how about this? Of the 28 consonant sounds in German, you already know 20 of them. That's right. If you're a native English speaker, then you already make these sounds every day. You can also ignore 7 of the vowel sounds for the same reason. The only thing standing between you and perfect German pronunciation are 8 new consonant and 10 new vowel sounds. You can handle that. Now let me introduce Alisa, who will be helping you to master these new sounds.
Hallo, ich bin Alisa.
Alisa will be giving you native pronunciation examples to imitate. But for this first lesson, just sit back and listen to the unique sounds of German.
Nicht, Apfel, Rost, Rübe, Schmarrn, Zahl, Kuchen, bearbeiten, füllt, über, Fuß, Seele, Öl, aber, Hölle, Ober, Wasser, Bahn.
In the next lesson, we'll look at the top 5 pronunciation mistakes German learners make. You'll want to make sure not to fall into these common traps. After that, we'll begin going through the vowels and consonants of German. This is your chance to learn how to correctly say all of the words you just heard. We'll finish up the series by covering some special topics that will really make your German sound natural. To close this lesson, here's a question for you. Why is it important to spend time on learning proper pronunciation, even if you're already an advanced speaker? The answer? You will be understood, and this will help you build more confidence as you communicate in German. For beginners, you're creating a strong foundation to build on. And for more advanced students, this is your chance to improve your accent and lose any bad habits you may have picked up. These are common mistakes that students of German tend to make, so pay close attention and make sure that you don't make these same mistakes too. Are you ready? Then let's get started. Number 1. Pronouncing German words with an English accent. English and German have many words in common, so the tendency is to pronounce them as you would pronounce them in English. Compare a few English words with their German derivatives. Pretzel,
Brezel,
bagel,
Bagel,
cobalt,
Kobalt,
Autobahn.
Autobahn.
The difference is quite obvious. Be sure to always pronounce words using German consonant and vowel sounds when speaking German. Get out of the habit of pronouncing these words as you would in English. While it may feel unnatural to say these words in a different manner than what you're used to, realize that it actually sounds more natural to native German listeners. Number 2. Under-enunciating vowels and final syllables. While both English and German have vowel reductions of some sort, English is much more lax than German. This means that many English speakers tend to under-enunciate vowels. The same applies to final syllables as well. Take, for example,
Ich habe mir heute ein Stück Kuchen gegönnt.
Learners of German would often be unclear in these problem areas. The problem gets worse when an indirect or direct object is involved, as this makes it even more difficult for a listener to understand what it is exactly you're trying to say.
In meinem Auto habe ich eine Spinne entdeckt. Ich habe mir einen Koffer gekauft.
As you can see, both markers for the indirect and the direct object are quite similar. If you do not enunciate the endings clearly, you'll be difficult to understand. Number 3. Using the wrong intonation. Students of German often use the incorrect pitch when saying a complete sentence or question. When you connect phrases leading up to a complete sentence, the endings of each phrase should rise in pitch. It's only at the final phrase of the sentence that the pitch falls if it's a statement. Take a look at this example.
Marie macht das Fenster zu, denn ihr ist kalt.
Notice how the pitch rises at the end of the first clause and falls at the end of the sentence?
Würden Sie mir verraten, wie ich zum Bahnhof komme?
Once again, the pitch rises at the end of the first clause, but this time the pitch also rises at the end since it's a question. Number 4, mispronouncing the German R.
R.
English speakers typically associate all R-like sounds with some manner of articulation using the tip of the tongue and somewhere in the front part of the mouth. The German R, however, actually comes from the throat using the back of the mouth. Listen to a few examples which use this letter.
Rost, Rast, Rutsch.
We'll take an in-depth look at pronouncing German R sounds in Lesson 6. Number 5, mispronouncing consonant combinations with the letter S. When combined with other consonants in German, the letter S typically changes to a sh sound. When S is paired with an H,
Show, Schare, Ware.
when S is paired with CH,
Scheck, komisch, Fisch.
when S is paired before a P at the beginning of a word or the first syllable,
Spiel, sprechen.
when S is paired before a T at the beginning of a word or the first syllable.
Stadt, studieren.
As you can see, there are many instances in which the letter S changes to a sh sound. We'll cover more of this in Lesson 8. Now you know the top 5 German pronunciation mistakes to avoid. Try to be careful so that you don't make these same mistakes. Still feel a bit worried? Over the rest of this series, we'll cover all of these topics in depth. In this lesson, you'll learn all 17 German vowel sounds.
A, O, Ö, E, Ö, Ä, Ä, E, I, Ü, I, Ü, O, O, U, U.
With these sounds, you can pronounce any vowel that could possibly appear in German. Some vowels may be hard for you to distinguish, especially for English speakers, so make sure you listen carefully. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first vowel is
A, maximal, Wasser, Dach.
It's very similar to the A sound in the word pat, though not as whiny. Try moving your tongue further back into the mouth so that it assumes a more centralized position. It should sound a little deeper as a result, and instead of a whiny sound, it now has a darker quality to it. The resulting vowel should sound somewhere in between the A sounds of the words pat and bra. Listen to Elisa.
A, 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 A,
The next vowel is
A, Bahn, Saal, Vater.
This is identical to the previous sound, except it's held for twice as long.
A, 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 A,
The next vowel is
O, oder, aber, Ober.
This is identical to the previous sound, except that the tongue is raised a tiny bit higher. The sound typically occurs at the end of a word and is pronounced softly.
O, O. O, O.
The next vowel is
Ö, Hölle, göttlich, erörtern.
This sounds roughly like the U in the word hurt. To pronounce this sound, however, Try saying the E sound in the word red while rounding your lips.
Ö, 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 Ö.
The next vowel is
E, Seele, Meer, Beet.
This sounds a little bit like the double E in the word feet, except your tongue is not as high. Try to relax your jaw and say it as if to allow the vowel to spill out. Listen to Elisa.
E, 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 E,
The next vowel is
Ö, öde, hören, schön.
This is identical to the previous sound, except that the lips are rounded. Try to say the word play while rounding your lips.
Ö, Ö. Ö, Ö.
The next vowel is
Ä, hätte, Männer, Bett.
It's identical to the E sound in the word red.
Ä, Ä. Ä, Ä.
The next vowel is
Ä, wähle, spät, Länge.
This is identical to the previous sound, except that it's pronounced twice as long.
Ä, Ä. Ä, Ä.
The next vowel is
E, halte, behalten, gesund.
It's identical to the E sound at the end of the word problem.
E, E. E, E.
The next vowel is
I, viel, Bibel, Ziel.
It's identical to the double E sound in the word see.
I, I. I, I.
The next vowel is
Ü, über, Mykene, Rübe.
It's identical to the previous sound, except that the lips are rounded. Try saying the word see while rounding your lips.
Ü, Ü. Ü, Ü.
The next vowel is
I, bitte, willig, bist.
It's identical to the I sound in the word it.
I, I. I, I.
The next vowel is
Ü. Füllt, Rhythmus, schützen.
It's identical to the previous sound, except that the lips are rounded. Try saying the word it while rounding your lips.
Ü, Ü. Ü, Ü.
The next vowel is
O, voll, kommen, Ort.
It's identical to the OU sound in the word ought.
O, O. O, O.
The next vowel is
O, oder, Boot, Moos.
This is very similar to the previous sound, except your tongue is positioned a little bit higher. It's quite similar to the O sound in the word O, though be careful not to carry over the W sound too much. Listen to Elisa.
O, O. O, O.
The next vowel is
U, Fuß, Blume, Hut.
It's identical to the double O sound in the word boot.
U, U. U, U.
And the last vowel is
U. Schutz, kurz, Putz.
It's identical to the double O sound in the word took.
U, U. U, U.
Well done! You've just learned all 17 vowels in German.
A, A, O, Ö. E, Ö, Ä, Ä, E, I, Ü, I, Ü, O, O, U, U.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of German pronunciation. German uses the exact same letters as English. It also uses one extra character and has unique markers which look like two dots appearing over some vowels.
But let's try not to focus and rely on the German letters too much. Let's focus on the sounds. There are a total of 28 consonant sounds and 17 vowel sounds in German. The good news is that most of these sounds are identical to English. A, E, I, O, U.
As you heard, these vowels don't sound that different from English.
One thing to note though is that German vowels are pronounced much more clearly than English. We also have more vowel sounds than English. So that's why it's very important that we pronounce them clearly. Unlike English, we try to maintain a constant pitch from start to finish without tapering off. A, E, I, O, U.
Some vowel sounds will be unfamiliar to you.
Some vowels such as A, O, and U can have two dots over them. We call these dots Umlaute. They indicate a change in the original pronunciation of the vowel. Compare the following pairs of vowels. A, Ä, O, Ö, U, Ü. The vowels with the two dots over them are essentially a combination between the vowel and the E sound. Sometimes they're represented as AE, OE, or UE.
Now let's take a look at German consonants. Like vowels, German consonants are predominantly similar to English.
B, D,
Other consonant sounds, however, may be a little more challenging.
Rost, Rübe, Schmarrn. These are the sounds that you need to focus on perfecting.
Okay, let's move on. Some consonants in German aren't actually pronounced as they look to an English speaker. Let's take a look at some of these letters.
The German V isn't pronounced like an English V, but as an F sound. So both V and F in German are pronounced as an F sound. Vogel, Fett.
The German W, on the other hand, is pronounced like a V sound.
Wasser, Wagen. German is also notorious for its Ich and Ach sounds.
The German CH isn't pronounced like the CH in church.
Ich, Licht, Recht.
It could also be pronounced another way.
Wach, Dach, noch.
The former is pronounced closer to the front of the mouth, while the latter is pronounced at the back of the mouth. Next is the SCH. This one is actually pronounced like the sh in sheet.
Schmal, schnell, Schlaf.
Now that you have gained a better understanding of German sounds, let's take a closer look at some common mistakes and how to fix them. We mentioned before that English speakers do not maintain the pitch of the vowel throughout. This often occurs because English speakers tend to glide on the vowel, needlessly adding a Y sound as they prolong the vowel.
When pronouncing German vowels, try to maintain the same pitch throughout the vowel. Bad, Nebel, Igel, Ohr, U-Boot. Bär, blöd, über.
Another challenging sound is the German guttural R sound.
Rund, Rast.
You want to produce the sound at the back of your throat, as if you're gargling water. Try it.
R, R.
Well done! In this lesson, you were introduced to German pronunciation. You learned that English and German share a lot of similar consonant and vowel sounds. You also learned that German vowels are pronounced evenly throughout. And in this lesson, you were introduced to some unfamiliar German sounds and the common mistakes that learners make. You've decided to study a new language. So now what? Well, you want to become fluent fast, right? Here are the top 5 shortcuts to learning a language. Number 1, create a study schedule and set some goals. Many language learners are unorganized. Creating a schedule allows you to free up time to study consistently. Goals give you motivation and something to strive for. Number 2, make it fun. If you learn how to make your study time enjoyable, chances are you'll be more inclined to study. Watch a TV show with subtitles or listen to some music. Number 3, find a language partner. This is the best way to improve your conversation skills. It will help you gain fluency even faster and increase confidence when speaking. Number 4, use word lists to build up a solid vocabulary. This is a great way to build up your fluency, one word at a time. Luckily, we have all the word lists you need, with a range of topics, from food to love. Choose whichever language you want to study and go. Number 5, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Nothing helps you improve more than correcting your own errors. You're more likely to remember it correctly the next time around. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't be afraid to learn from them. There's no magical way to learn a new language overnight, but doing all of these can really help your learning process. And remember, if you're interested in getting on the fast track to fluency, sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. Start learning now.
The question for this lesson is, what is the difference between Entschuldigung, entschuldigen Sie, and entschuldige? Let's start from the beginning. The verb entschuldigen can be literally translated as to take away the guilt, with die Schuld meaning the guilt. This means you're asking the other person to free you from feeling guilty for whatever you're apologizing for. Both Entschuldigung and entschuldigen Sie, which are formal, and entschuldige, which is informal, are used to apologize to someone. Entschuldigen Sie und entschuldige are the imperative of entschuldigen, which means to excuse, and Entschuldigung means apology. While both expressions can often be used interchangeably, a conversation between a parent and their child might go like this: Entschuldige dich, apologize, to which the child will reply Entschuldigung, meaning apology, or more naturally in English, sorry. Entschuldigung can often stand on its own as an apology, but entschuldigen Sie or entschuldige often need another sentence to explain what you're apologizing for, such as entschuldigen Sie, dass ich zu spät war, which means excuse me being late, or entschuldigen Sie die Störung, meaning excuse the disruption. Entschuldigen Sie is formal, so this would be used at work, for example, when a colleague disrupts a meeting, or, very politely, simply before asking a colleague a question. Another common phrase is Entschuldigung, das wollte ich nicht, meaning apologies, I didn't want that to happen. This can be used in many situations, and the das wollte ich nicht implies that whatever you did was an accident. This phrase can be used for anything from apologizing for dropping a plate at home to apologizing to your boss for breaking your computer at work. It's usually used when your mistake was noticed by another person and that person makes you aware of what you did. Another example is ist entschuldigt, which directly translates as he's excused. This is commonly only at school when parents write a note for their children when they are sick. Their absence is then called an entschuldigt. In casual situations, for example, if a friend is a few minutes late, many people would just shorten this phrase by saying Entschuldigung. For example, Entschuldigung, ich stand im Stau, which means, sorry, I was caught in traffic. Increasingly, people also say just sorry in very casual or friendly situations.
The top hardest words to pronounce in German. Let's do this. Ähnlich, similar. Ich sehe meinem Bruder ähnlich. I look similar to my brother. Is the A umlaut in CH, which you kind of pronounce here, and h. It's kind of I always explain it as a snake, like so ähnlich. Eichhörnchen, squirrel, squirrel. Yeah, this one is very hard because there's a lot of and then Ich finde Eichhörnchen sehr süß. I think squirrels are very cute. So Eichhörnchen. Hörnchen is the cute form of horns. So if you refer to something kind of cute and little, you always add a chen. Etikettierung, labeling. Etikett is the label, and Etikettierung is if you are labeling something. Mein Schulranzen hatte eine Etikettierung. My school bag had a label with my name on it. Hose, pants, die Hose. Ich habe heute eine Jeanshose an. Today I'm wearing jeans. Streichholzschachtel, matchbox. It's die Streichholzschachtel. So Streichholzschachtel consists of 3 different words. Streichen, Streich means rub. Holz is wood. Schachtel is box. Feuer anzuzünden, brauche ich eine Streichholzschachtel. To make a fire, I need a matchbox. Über, over. Ich finde mich übercool. I think I am super cool. Ich springe über den Zaun. I jump over the fence. So über can be used as in over a fence, like über den Zaun, but also I am übercool. Like I'm super cool. Überwachung, monitoring. Die Überwachung. You really have to watch something very closely, or so Überwachung. Gefängnisse, benötigen Überwachung. Jails need monitoring. Umweltverschmutzung, pollution, die Umweltverschmutzung. Umwelt means environment and Verschmutzung means dirt or dirtiness. And heutzutage sollte sich jeder Gedanken machen über Umweltverschmutzung. Nowadays, I think it's very important that everybody should think of pollution. You don't pronounce every single letter, so it's Umweltverschmutzung, but that's why it's hard to pronounce. Wettbewerbsfähig, competitive. Fähig is something you add to a lot of things if you are capable of doing it. This one is hard as well because the HI is not very common. Fähig. Der Arbeitsmarkt ist sehr wettbewerbsfähig. The work world is very competitive. Zuhören, listen. Ich hoffe, ihr hört mir zu. I hope you're listening now. Usually the Ö is pronounced very clearly, like Ö, Öl, oil. But in this case, since the H is before and the R after, it's kind of like zuhören.
Want to speed up your language learning? Get access to all of our best PDF cheat sheets for free. Just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now.
Magst du deutsches Essen? Do you like German food? Magst du deutsches Essen? Do you like German food? Eines meiner Lieblingsspeisen aus Deutschland sind Knödel. One of my favorite German foods is Knödel. It actually is made of potatoes. It's like a potato powder and you boil it in water. It's very German actually. It's called Knödel. Ich lebe in dem Land, wo die Sprache gesprochen wird. I live in a country that speaks the language. Ich lebe in dem Land, wo die Sprache gesprochen wird. I live in a country that speaks the language. If you come to Germany and want to learn German and study German, I mean, since you are in Germany, it would be, of course, easier to get around, even in the supermarket or just different kind of things like getting on the bus, on the train, and finding your way. It's all in German, so it's a good reason to learn German.
Gibt es einen Bus vom Flughafen in die Stadt? Is there a bus from the airport to the city? Often airports are kind of outside of the city, right? In Germany, or actually in Europe, we have Ryanair. Probably you've heard about it. It's like cheap airline, but we all want to save money, so it's good. But often the airports of this Ryanair are actually not in the city. So if you fly Ryanair to Barcelona, you end up, 100 kilometers out of Barcelona, and then you always have to take a bus. This also happens in Germany. For example, the Frankfurt airport of Ryanair is about 100 kilometers out of Frankfurt, so you will have to ask for a bus to the city. How do you do this? Gibt es einen Bus vom Flughafen in die Stadt? Number 4.
Last. Ich war das letzte Mal am Meer vor circa einem Jahr. The last time I was at the ocean was about 1 year ago. Die Person, person, die Personen, people. Die Personen in Deutschland sind sehr freundlich. The people in Germany are friendly. Machen, make. For example, meine Mutter macht heute einen Kuchen. My mother is making a cake. And if you've never tried German cake, it's really good. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. Ding! Now it's done. And then it's going to go whipped cream. Wie geht es Ihnen? How are you? Wie geht es Ihnen? And then, mir geht es gut. How are you? I am good.
Könnten wir das Menü haben, bitte? Could we have the menu, please? Going to a restaurant, you of course want to know what the food offering is before you just order anything. The waiter comes with the menu, And you can open it, search for your entree and for your drink. Beer, I'd recommend. And then, oh, what I'm gonna eat? Schnitzel. Eat Schnitzel. Schnitzel is awesome. Good German food. I love it.
Ich möchte mich gerne mit der Familie meines Partners auf ihrer Sprache unterhalten. I want to speak to my partner's family in their language. You might be dating a German but you're from another country, so of course you get interested in the culture and the language. I think that's a normal thing, and in order to speak with their family or spend time on certain holidays, it's important to know their language. And if that's a reason, let me know. I'm curious if you're maybe dating a German and that's why you're actually studying German. Wie lautet deine Telefonnummer? What's your phone number? Wie lautet deine Telefonnummer? What's your phone number? I think it's important if you're in a country that you don't know and you're new, you're trying to connect, and so try to meet as much people as possible, get their phone numbers and meet them again. And so remember this question. Alt, old. Ich mag alte Schätze. I love old treasures. Ich mag alte Omas, die sind sehr süß. I like old grandmas, they're really cute. Die Freizeit, free time or leisure time. In meiner Freizeit unternehme ich gerne etwas draußen. In my free time, I like to be outside. Gucken, look. Gucken means to look, and it's kind of used between friends and more young people, and it's not very formal, it's more casual. Ich gucke mir gerne den Himmel an. I like to look at the sky. Gern geschehen. You're welcome. Ja, danke, dass du mir beim Umzug geholfen hast. Gern geschehen. Thank you for helping me move. You're welcome.
Ich möchte das hier. I'd like this. Coming back if you're at the fair and you really don't know, like there's something you've never seen, but then you want to point at it and say you want this, and you want to impress the one who's selling you, the seller, speaking German, then you can just say, ich möchte dies, and he will be like, cool, here you got it. Number 16.
Lustig, funny. Finde mich immer sehr lustig. Vielleicht andere nicht, aber ich. I think I'm funny, even though maybe other people don't, but I think so. Einer meiner lieblingslustigen Schauspieler ist Ben Stiller. One of the most funniest actors is Ben Stiller. Der Kopf, head. Die Köpfe, heads. Okay, so der rollende Kopf, the rolling head. In German, if you do something bad, it's a way of saying die rollenden Köpfe, or your heads will roll. It's the same saying as in German, die rollenden Köpfe. Die lustigen Köpfe der Klasse, the funny heads in the classroom. There are always some class clowns. In Germany we call them die lustigen Köpfe der Klasse. Erzählen, tell. Immer wenn ich aus dem Urlaub zurückkomme, erzähle ich die aufregendsten Geschichten. When I come back from vacation, I always tell the most amazing stories. Als Kind hat meine Mutter mir Märchen erzählt. As a kid, my mom used to tell me fairy tales. The most famous fairy tales, Märchen, are from the Grimm brothers, and they're actually German. And I really used to love, Rotkäppchen, it's Red Riding Hood.
Entschuldigen Sie, wie hoch ist der Fahrpreis? Excuse me, what's the fare? In buses or trains, if you haven't bought your ticket previously ahead, then you might want to ask the driver, what's the price before we're taking it, to not be surprised later. Yeah, bus tickets in the city usually are like, I'd say, $2.50. Train tickets apparently depend on how far you want to go. I think a train ticket from Berlin to Munich, for example, €50, I guess. Depends also if you book ahead or not. But yeah, if you ask the driver or anybody at the train station, you probably haven't booked ahead. It's always smarter to book ahead, then you can get way cheaper tickets, especially for trains. In buses, usually you're not really able to book a ticket ahead. You just buy it right there. And yeah, the driver in the bus always is happy to help you out when you're uncertain about the price. So just ask him. Number 20, Selfie time. Könnten Sie ein Foto von mir machen? Could you take a picture of me, please? Yeah, nowadays this question is not asked so often anymore because you always do your selfies, right? You do that? Like, I could actually film all this in selfie, but I would be too shaky, I guess. But if you want a proper picture, maybe of your group with everybody in it and not just this long selfie arm, then you should ask a stranger on the street. And I told you previously that most Germans know at least a little English, so they would understand if you have a camera and say, oh, could you take a picture, please? That you all want them to take a picture of you. Good sentence to know if you're traveling alone or with your partner or in a group and you want to have a picture. Then just ask, oh, könnten Sie ein Foto von mir machen? Könnten Sie bitte ein Foto von mir machen? Going back home after your travel, you see clouds are coming back, like I'm not in this bright sun anymore. Yeah, time to go home. Yeah, travel is over, let's go back home and then bus to the airport. Have a good flight.
Einen Moment bitte. One moment, please. You bought something and you want to return it. Entschuldigen Sie, ich würde gerne etwas zurückschicken. Einen Moment bitte. Excuse me, I would like to return something. One moment, please. Ich hätte gerne. I would like. Ich hätte gerne einen Salat mit Pommes. I would like a salad with fries. Wait. I would like a water. Wie viel macht das? How much is it? Ich hätte gerne ein Kleid für eine Hochzeit. Wie viel macht das? I would like a dress for a wedding. How much is it? Zahlen bitte. The check, please. Zahlen bitte. The check, please. When you're ordering something and you're finished and you want to pay, you usually say to the waiter or waitress, Zahlen bitte. Hilfe, help. Hilfe! Help! Hilfe, like help, is when you're in need of something or you can't do it by yourself. You scream or you say, Hilfe! Ja, ich bräuchte Hilfe heute Abend. I need help tonight.
Want to speed up your language learning? Get access to all of our best PDF cheat sheets for free. Just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now.
How do I express feelings in German? Letting people know how you feel is an important part of daily conversation. That's why this lesson focuses on how to express emotions. Do you know how to say, I'm happy, I'm sad, or I'm sick in German? You will find out in this lesson. To express emotions in German, usually the subject is followed by the verb sein, to be, and then the adjective. This verb is commonly used to talk about your own feelings, can be used to talk about others' feelings depending on the context. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to express your feelings in German. Let's start on a positive note. Ich bin glücklich. I am happy. Here we have the word ich meaning I, followed by the conjugated form of the verb sein, to be, and the adjective glücklich, happy. So altogether it means I am happy. Some examples are Du bist fröhlich. You are happy, pleased. Here we have the word du, meaning you, followed by bist, a conjugated form of the verb sein, to be, and the adjective fröhlich, glad. So altogether it means you are glad. Next, ist unglücklich. He is unhappy. Here we have the word meaning he, followed by ist, a conjugated form of the verb sein, to be, and the adjective glücklich, unhappy. So altogether it means he is unhappy. Wir sind traurig. We are sad. Here we have the word wir meaning we, followed by sind, a conjugated form of the verb sein, to be, and the adjective traurig, sad. So altogether it means we are sad. Next, wir sind verwirrt, durcheinander. They are confused. Here we have the word sie meaning they, followed by sind, a conjugated form of the verb sein, to be, and the adjective verwirrt, durcheinander, confused. So altogether it means they are confused. Ihr seid zufrieden. You all are satisfied. Here we have the word ihr meaning you, plural followed by seid, the conjugated form of the verb sein, to be, and the adjective zufrieden, satisfied. So altogether it means you are satisfied. How do I say that something's great in German? There are two main ways to express that something's great in German. These two words are toll and groß. Toll just means great. You can even use it on its own. For example, if you see something really impressive or amazing, you can just say toll, great. Or you can use it as a part of a sentence like das ist so toll, meaning that is so great. The word groß by itself actually means tall or big. However, the word großartig can also mean great. You can even use both toll and groß by saying das ist toll, wirklich großartig, which means that is great, really great, or that is awesome, really awesome, to emphasize how amazing something is. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use toll and groß correctly. Let's start with the sentence, das hast du toll gemacht, meaning you did a great job. This is something parents might say after watching their child participate in a school musical or play in a sports tournament. However, this is a casual expression and should not be used when speaking formal German. If you want to congratulate your coworker on a job well done, it would be better to use das haben Sie wirklich sehr gut gemacht, which means you really did that very well. Here's an easy one. If you went on a trip or to an event and someone asks you how it was, you can use the expression es war toll, it was great. Let's do one more. The expression na großartig is an ironic expression that literally means well, great. This is used when you make a mistake or knock something over and so on. An interesting tidbit is that the word toll originally meant crazy, but nobody uses it that way anymore. How was it? Pretty interesting, right? Does muss in German mean the same thing as must in English? Unfortunately, must and the English must are false friends. That means they sound similar, but they actually mean something a little different. Musst du comes from the verb müssen, which means to have to. In some cases, it can be translated as must. However, the word must has a much stronger connotation in English than it has in German. You can see musst du at the beginning of a standard question. For example, musst du heute arbeiten? Meaning, do you have to work today? You can also see the reverse when making a statement, du musst heute unbedingt einkaufen gehen. You really have to go shopping today. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use the verb müssen correctly. Let's use the sentence, ich muss los, I have to go, as an example. I must go sounds really strong in English, but in German it can be used just to let someone know when you have to leave. For example, ich muss heute 17 Uhr los. I have to leave at 5 p.m. today. Or you can use it when you suddenly realize the time and you have to go somewhere else, as in, oh, ich muss los. Oh, I have to go. If you want to say, I have to go in a business situation, it would be better to use the phrase ich muss dann mal los, which literally translates to I would then have to go. You can use this if you're talking to your boss after work and need to make a quick exit. By trailing off after the word los, you're implying if that's okay with you. This phrase is usually replied to, oh, natürlich, of course. A good point to remember is that while müssen can be loosely translated as must, in some cases, must not does not translate to nicht müssen. Instead, you would use nicht dürfen. What do los and gehen mean, and how do I use them? Los has no literal translation, but means something along the lines of let's go. Gehen means to go. When used together, losgehen means to start going, when you're about to leave. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use los and gehen correctly. Let's start with a phrase that uses both. If you and your friends are getting ready to go somewhere, you can use the phrase los geht's, which literally means off we go. This lets the people you're with know that it's time to get going. Now let's do one using just los. Imagine those same friends are taking a while to get ready, and you're starting to get impatient. Then you can use the phrase los jetzt, which translates to something like come on now. It's usually followed by beeil dich, which means hurry up. What do you think? Do you understand the difference? If you've really got a good handle on it, you can try using this expression. Ich glaub, es geht los. This literally means I believe it is starting to go. But it's actually used to express shock or disbelief at someone else's bad behavior. How do I use the word leihen in German? Leihen means both to lend and to borrow. So how do you know when which one is being used? The easiest way to tell is using these two different expressions, sich etwas leihen, to borrow something, and jemandem etwas leihen, to lend someone something. Let's take a look at the pronouns. In the first sentence, the subject, I, you, he, her, and so on, will be related to the subject something, and the same corresponding pronouns will be used. So for example, if you want to say, I borrow something, then the sentence would be, ich leihe mir etwas. Here, the word ich means I and corresponds with mir, literally translating to me. This is the same for all pronouns in German, including you or du, dir, and so on. You can check out a full conjugation chart in the lesson notes. If you want to use the expression jemandem etwas leihen, meaning to lend something, then the subject and the object are not related, and you'll be using two different pronouns. For example, ich leihe ihm etwas, meaning I lend him something. In this sentence, the pronouns ich, I, and ihm, him, are different, so the listeners know that the speaker means lend. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to make sentences using borrow and lend correctly. Let's first do an example with borrow. Ich leihe mir einen Film aus der Videothek. This means I borrow a movie from the video store. Here, the corresponding pronouns are ich and mir, and both refer to I. Therefore, we know this sentence is using borrow. Now, let's do one with lend. leiht ihr ein Buch. He lends her a book. Here the pronouns are different, so we know this sentence is using lend. Now let's do a tricky one. Ich leihe dir ein Kleid und du leihst mir einen Rock. I lend you a dress and you lend me a skirt. In this sentence, ich and dir and du and mir are different, non-corresponding pronouns referring to I and you. If you want to change the sentence to borrow, it will sound like this. Du leihst dir ein Kleid von mir und ich leihe mir einen Rock von dir. You borrow a dress from me and I borrow a skirt from you. In this case, du and dir and ich and mir correspond, changing the sentence to borrow while still meaning the same thing. What is Denglisch? Denglisch, also called Anglizismen, are nouns that are derived from Deutsch, German, and English, English. These are nouns that look and sound like English words but aren't used in the same context. Some examples are handy, public viewing, mobbing, showmaster. Let's go over them so you can learn how to use these Denglisch words correctly. Handy doesn't mean something that's useful. Actually, it's a common word that was used for an older phones without screen. Nowadays, mobile phones are called smartphone or iPhone. Places where soccer games are screened publicly are called public viewing. This is when soccer fans go to a designated place to watch the game together. However, many English speakers confuse this with when you view your loved ones for the last time after they've already passed away. If someone is being bullied at work, it's called mobbing. This is not a large mob of people in a crowded area. It's often used to describe the difficult state of work life in Germany and is used when other coworkers are teasing or making fun of you. Showmaster, rather than the host of a show, is actually the person who moderates a show, the person who makes sure everything is running smoothly.
Want to speed up your language learning? Get access to all of our best PDF cheat sheets for free. Just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now.
Does umfahren have two different meanings? The word umfahren can mean both, knock down and dive around in German. However, people can tell what it means by either the context of the sentence or the placement of stress on the word. The difference is that umfahren, to knock down, is a separable prefix like ich fahre while umfahren, meaning to drive around, is a non-separable prefix like ich umfahre. Let's do some examples so we can learn how to use umfahren correctly. If you pronounce the word as umfahren with an emphasis on that means knock down. For example, ich habe aus Versehen den Baum umgefahren. I accidentally knocked down the tree. Also, with this definition, can be separated from fahren, like in this sentence. Ich fahre den Baum meaning I knocked down the tree with a car. If you pronounce the word as umfahren with an emphasis on fahren, that means drive around. For example, ich umfahre die Insel. Literally, I now drive around the island. With this definition, cannot be separated from fahren. Another similar example is umschreiben. When is emphasized, it means to rewrite something. And when schreiben is emphasized, it means to describe something. But be careful. Ich schreibe den Text when the prefix is separable. It means I rewrite the text. What is the difference between blau machen, to make blue, and blau sein, to be blue? These are two common expressions in German and do not have any connection with the literal meaning of blue at all. Let's take a look at some examples so you can learn how to use these expressions correctly. For example, if you're just not feeling well today and need to take a rest, you can say, Ich mache heute blau, meaning I'll skip it. It refers to work, school, or another activity or event. Another way to use this expression is Ich bin blau, I'm drunk. You can use this at a party when you've possibly had one too many, and it may signal to your friends that it's time to go home. So, why do these expressions use the word blue? The original reason is that blue is commonly associated with negative feelings. This means that, as an idiom, the word blue often reflects unhappy emotions. Keep in mind that both expressions are colloquial and should not be used in formal situations. What are some of the most common German proverbs? German has some really interesting proverbs. In this lesson, we'll go over some of them. First up is the expression abwarten und Tee trinken. This literally means to wait and drink tea. This is a common phrase used when you want to express your patience about something. For example, if you applied for university and you need to wait for the results, you can use this expression. Next, we have the expression alte Liebe rostet nicht, which means old love doesn't rust. For example, imagine you haven't seen an ex for many years. Then suddenly they come back into your life and the flame rekindles. In that case, one might use this expression. Next up is einen Bären aufbinden, literally meaning to untie a bear. If someone tells you a story and you don't think he or she is telling the truth, you can say he or she's untying a bear, which actually means I don't believe you at all. Another interesting idiom is auf den Schlips treten, which literally means to step on the necktie. If you offend someone, you might say entschuldige, ich wollte dir nicht auf den Schlips treten. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your necktie. Let's go over a few more. Alles in Butter, literally everything is in butter. If someone asks you, are you okay? You can tell this person, ja, alles in Butter. Yes, everything is fine. The next one is auf die Pelle rücken, literally meaning to move to the skin. The imagery is quite self-explanatory. If you imagine someone being too close to you physically, you can comment on his or her behavior by saying, du rückst mir auf die Pelle, literally, you bother me. Last, we have Übung macht den Meister, literally, practice makes the master. Imagine your friend is practicing something really hard, but just isn't quite there yet. You can tell him or her, Übung macht den Meister. Practice makes perfect. What does passt schon mean? Passt schon is a casual expression in German that generally means something is alright or okay. However, it can be used in different ways. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use passt schon correctly. In some cases, passt schon can mean never mind. For example, ich denke, nee, passt schon. Literally, this means I think so, never mind. But it translates naturally as I forgot what I wanted to say. In other cases, passt schon can mean no problem. For example, if someone accidentally bumps into you and says Entschuldigung, excuse me, you can respond with passt schon, no problem. You can also use passt schon to respond to the question wie geht es dir, meaning how are you? If you're not so bad but not great either, you can say passt schon. In this case, it would roughly translate to I'm alright or I'm fine. Passt schon can even mean keep the change when giving a tip. For example, if your waiter at the restaurant says, das macht 47 Euro. 47 euros, please. You can respond with a passt schon, and it'll mean keep the change. In other parts of Germany, such as Bavaria, some people drop the N at the end of passt schon and emphasize the O as in passt schon. So make sure to listen for it if you visit.
What are your top 10 language learning goals for the year? The year is still new, some months already in, but still enough time to reach all the goals that you have. So, what could those be? We'll see in a second. Let's go. Ich werde die Survival Phrases Series auf germanpod101.com beenden, indem ich mir 2 Lektionen jeden Tag anhöre. I'll finish Survival Phrases Series on germanpod101.com
by listening 2 phrases a day. Survival with German language requires some survival lessons, I guess. Go through the survival lessons and take care you follow all the steps I'm going through with you today. And then we'll make sure that you will be on track with all your goals in learning German. Ich werde ein deutsches Buch zu Ende lesen, indem ich 10 Seiten jeden Tag lese. I'll finish reading one German book by reading 10 pages a day. I know we have some great German philosophers like Goethe and Schiller. Maybe you should not start with this kind of stuff, it's a bit heavy. Even German speakers struggle to understand all that stuff. Take something easy and then reading is fun. I think reading German is a great way to master the German language, so go ahead, 10 pages a day, make sure. Ich werde meinen Deutschtest bestehen. I'll pass my German test. Whatever test that is, like there's all this A1, A2, B1, B2, or if it's test stuff, there's the Goethe Institute. All those are great. If you plan on studying in German, then you have to reach a specific level and pass in a test. I think that's usually either the Goethe Institute or the C1, and there's test stuff, DSH. So if you plan on studying in Germany, you should make sure that you pass in one of those tests. They're a bit higher than the B2 level, and listening to these lessons here is the first way to get there. Ich werde einen deutschen Film komplett verstehen, indem ich ihn jeden Tag gucke. I'll fully understand one German movie by watching it every day. I'm not so sure if that's the best way to do it. Might get quite boring after the 3rd, 4th or 5th time. But I don't know, if you like binge watching all over the same movie, then it might be a good idea to just switch over to German at one point. So if you already know all the phrases by heart in your mother tongue, that could be a way. I like Bad Boys. That's a good movie. Wouldn't watch it every day though. Okay, I think we'll find better ways to make you learn German without you having to watch the same movie every day all over again. Okay, let's try with the next one. Ich werde vor meinen deutschen Freunden auf Deutsch eine 3 Minuten lange Vorstellungsrede halten. I'll give a 3-minute introductory speech in German to my German friends. First thing to do here is find some German friends. If you live somewhere else, I don't know. But on the other hand, Germans are everywhere. So just go out, shout some of the stuff that you already learned with me, and then whoever speaks German will be like, oh, I understood that. So you can find some German friends this way. Then give them your 3-minute introductory speech, and then they already know who you are. And so, maybe they are friends afterwards. Maybe not, but at least you've mastered one of the steps to reach your German goals for the year. Ich werde 5 deutsche Lieder auswendig lernen. I'll memorize 5 German songs. Ooh, that's a hard one. Even I don't memorize 5 German songs. I know maybe 99 Red Balloons. That's a good one, easy to remember. Could start with that. I do know more English songs, they're the better songs. Unless you really like German music, then we have some cool rock bands. There's Die Toten Hosen, should listen to that stuff, good stuff. Or Die Ärzte, same direction. If you manage to memorize 5 German songs, please leave a note and sing them. I want to know. Ich werde 350 Wörter durch Karteikarten auf germanpod101.com zu Ende auswendig lernen. I'll finish memorizing 350 words with flashcards on germanpod101.com. That's a pretty long one, okay, so one more time, pretty slow. Ich werde 350 Wörter durch Karteikarten auf germanpod101.com, right here, zu Ende auswendig lernen. Flashcards are a very good way, like the little flashcards. Write down the words. After writing down 350 words, you probably already know most of them, so that's the way to go. The horse agrees. I used to learn with flashcards also, but flashcards definitely is a good way to go for. Ich werde 10 Postkarten auf Deutsch an meine deutschen Freunde schreiben. I'll write 10 postcards in German to my German friends. Again, first find some German friends that you can send the postcards to. If you haven't been successful in the mall with shouting around and giving you a 3-minute introductory speech, and you haven't found any German friends yet, just write 10 German postcards to your grandma. Grandmas love postcards. Just, I don't know, add some little pictures of yourself and they'll be totally fine. I don't know, grandmas are full of surprise. Maybe they even speak German. But yeah, you see, it's worth finding some German friends so that you can give you a 3-minute introductory speech. You can send 10 German postcards. German friends are very useful. People say it's hard to find German friends. That's not true. We're everywhere. We're nice people. Ich werde lernen, wie man über vergangene, gegenwärtige und zukünftige Ereignisse spricht. I'll learn how to talk about past, present and future events. I think it's worth also to grab a German grammar book. That way you can also do your 10 pages in German a day and study the German past and present forms. Because yeah, my lessons are very good to learn some new vocab and to get a little bit the feeling of the language and get some cultural insights. But I'm not really going into detail too much with grammar. So in my opinion, to really study grammar, a book is the best way to go because you can really like sit down, think. It's also a bit like you can use your flashcards and write down the different forms of a verb in the past and in the future. Future, it's there. Past, there. Present, right here. Vergangenheit, Zukunft, Gegenwart. That's 3 years ago, so dreamers, I don't know, memorizers, and right here we are. Gegenwart. Ich werde 150 Wörter meistern, indem ich 5 Wörter pro Tag auswendig lerne. I'll master 150 words by learning 5 words a day. That's a good goal. New words, broaden your vocab. 5 new words is good, like it's not too much in the beginning. After a couple of days it gets more, like after 7 for example, after a week you would be with 35 words. 35 words are good, you can make a lot of sentences, maybe not so much sense, but a lot of sentences with 35 words. But yeah, no kidding, I mean, having the goal of every day having 5 new words is pretty good, so you always kind of really broaden your horizon, and of course from time to time you'll forget some, but therefore you have your flashcards to repeat, and yet also it gives you the chance to really get a little step forward day by day. So 5 words every day.
What are the differences between the dialects Sächsisch, Saxon, and Bayerisch, Bavarian? Bayerisch, spoken in the south of Germany, and Sächsisch, spoken in the eastern part of Germany, are 2 dialects that are still widespread. The word dialects in German, Dialekte, can also be referred to as Mundarten, literally meaning mouth style. First, let's go over the differences between the 2 dialects. The most distinctive characteristic of Sächsisch is that the endings are swallowed. It is used as a kind of time saver when speaking. For example, here's the standard German sentence. Ist der Mund einmal offen? Warum hinter dem Berg halten? And here is the Sächsisch dialect. Is de Gutsche immer bret? Dann gönn ma auch gleich mit Ema nauslaufen lassen. Did you notice the difference in ending there? Both sentences literally translate as, once the mouth opens, why keep it behind the mountain? It means that once you start to talk about something, you should just say everything you're thinking. In the Sächsisch dialect, many hard sounds changed to soft sounds. For example, k turns to g, t to d, and p to b. It's considered to be an immature soft dialect, which is why it might sound strange to foreigners. Here are some examples so you can hear the differences between the Sächsisch dialect and Standard German more clearly. First, you'll hear the Standard German, then the dialect, and finally the translation. Morgen, morgen, morning. Tag, Tag, hello. Guten Abend, Abend, good evening. Wie geht's denn so? Wie geht's denn so? How are you? The Bavarian dialect is also pronounced more softly than Standard German. It's considered to be a warm-hearted and sincere dialect. Listen to the differences in sound again. Just like before, you'll hear the standard German, the dialect, and finally the translation. Grüß Gott, grüß Gott, grüß dich. Hello, greetings. Grüß Gott, grüß ich Gott, greetings to God. Wie geht's? Wie geht's da? How are you? Remember, these dialects are only spoken in certain parts of Germany, but in general it's necessary to speak and write standard German. Also, while it's important to understand the differences between the dialects, be careful not to imitate them because you might send the wrong impression to the listener.
Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.